Today I'm going to be backtesting a really simple technical strategy that I personally use in my own trading. Now I use other things in my trading, but ironing out the technical aspects of my trading strategy are really critical. One of my favorite things to trade is gold, so let's do some gold backtesting within Forex Tester Online's platform. If you want to check out the platform, by the way, I'll leave information in the description down below to where you can get a discount. So I'm going to create a new project and I'm going to specifically look for XAU USD here. I'm going to select gold. I'm going to create this project and we're going to call it Momentum Gold Trading Backtest. I've got a 10K deposit and I'm going to select a specific year here. Let's just go back to 2024 and we're going to go select, let's call it January of 2024. I'm going to keep the leverage default, keep the time frame default, and we are good to go. I'm going to create the project and now what I can do is go ahead and go into our gold momentum trading. Now, once I launch the project, you can see it's got some default stuff. I'm just going to change the chart settings around just slightly, removing the grid and period separator. I just like my charts to be really simple. I'm also going to change the time frame to what I personally trade, which is usually the daily chart. I also want to add some really simple trend filters here that I'm going to use to just kind of visualize my trend following approach. So I'm going to go ahead and apply a 20 period moving average. I'm going to keep this in red and I'm going to add a second trending moving average, the simple moving average, and it's going to be the 50 period instead. I'm going to change this to blue, click apply, and then I'm going to add one final indicator. I'm going to use the RSI here. Now I like to use a shorter period RSI to make it more nimble with current price action. One last thing I want to add is the levels here. I'm going to change them to a white color so we can see them below. Now in my own trading, I also use fundamental analysis, which I use my own products for, so it's a little hard to visualize here, but today we're going to specifically iron out the technical aspect of my trading approach, which is looking for pullbacks within trending markets and trailing stops using a trailing stop methodology that you'll become familiar with pretty quick once we start getting some trades behind us. Let's jump in. I'm going to be looking for an oversold condition within these moving averages being aligned. So if we can pull back and also get a oversold reading, what we'll do is we'll click new trade and now I can actually map out a trade position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also use stop losses based on a market structure point. So I'm going to use my stop loss and place it just below this area of support that we can see looking left. What I also want to do is risk a flat rate of 1% per trade, click place, and now we can go ahead and let the trade play out. Now again, if we stop out, it's meant to be a cut your losses quickly and let wins run. So in this case, we cut the trade pretty quickly. We are still overall in an upward trend. So let's see if we can find some sort of supportive level. Seems like we found some support in this area. So I'm going to go ahead and click new order and I'm going to take another position, risking 1%. This time I'm going to put my stop loss just below market structure here where we found some support here recently. Let's see if this trade wants to move in our favor. In this case, we are looking for some sort of break above market structure here in order to trail stops, and we don't get it. We rolled over here, stopped out, and we are back to square one. The trend has now actually flipped to short-term bearish with our moving averages going the other way. So now what I'll do is I'm going to actually try and take a small short position. So I'm going to risk 1% again, this time moving my stop loss just above market structure here. Place the order and let's see what happens with this trade. So in this case, that clearly was not the right example, but we cut the trade quickly. And so now the market has continued. Thank goodness we closed the trade. I'm looking for an oversold condition and I'm going to look for a pullback opportunity to join the move. And this is a frustrating thing about trading gold. It's actually quite realistic. That's why we're back testing this, is sometimes you get these huge run-ups in one direction. However, we've finally gotten a pullback here and let's see if we can catch a trade here. So I'm going to get long with a new order, buy trade, and I'm going to risk 1% on this position like I've been doing with a stop loss below market structure here. I'm going to place the order and we are now long, and let's see if the trend wants to continue or not. So we've got a nice break back above the all-time highs here. I think these are all-time highs, pretty close to it. Yeah, I think this is an all-time high at that time. Anyways, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually trail my stop below market structure here. So we've had a nice move. Let's go ahead and lock in a gain here on the account. And again, these are daily charts, so this is a little bit of a higher time frame move. Now you can see we've actually rolled back over. The trend is still up though, and we're coming back into a supportive level. So I'm actually going to go ahead and re-enter the trade, this time with a new order buy, not a take profit. I'm just going to risk my 1% and I'm going to trail my stop loss below market structure looking left. So again, because this is a larger distance, my lot size should account for that to make sure that it's not too big of a risk on the account. Before we go further with the video, make sure to check out Forex Tester Online if you're enjoying the platform so far. They're currently doing some great discounts, and all the information can be found in the description down below. Let's keep going. So I'm clicking as we go here, and what you can see is that so far we're holding support. But again, if we break through this level, that's going to be my cue to get out of the trade and call it quits and take the loss. Let's see what happens next. All right, we're back to the all-time highs here, and it seems like we've held this area. For now, what I'll do is I'll at least trim a little bit of my stop here just below market structure. We seem to be trending well. Let's see if we can break through. This time we've locked in now a gain on the trade. Now we've broken through the all-time highs, which is great. I'm going to lock in a little bit more on this position, putting stops just below this swing low here that we see intraday. And let's see what happens. We ultimately got stopped out of the position. Let's see if we can get a little bit more of a pullback, and if so, maybe that will be our cue. Yep, there it is, to potentially re-enter the trade. So I'm going to go ahead and re-enter the trade. We've got a nice pullback. I bet you this is a 618% retracement, which also adds extra confluence. You can see, yep, about a 61.8% retracement on the Fibonacci retracement tool. So I quite like this entry, and now I can go ahead and click new order. Buy trade. I'm going to risk my 1% standard. I'm going to trail put my stop loss here below market structure. And what I'll do is I'll trail or put my stop just around here. So I'm placing my order. I'm now long, and we're going to look to see if we can get some sort of reaction. And beautiful, very nice reaction off that 618 retracement, still in the upward trend. Rule set has been met. The criteria is still good. We just tagged into our prior high. And what I can do now is look to see, well, we're still kind of ranging here. Let's see if price wants to make a more decisive push. There it is, back to those highs. Let's see if we can get through them. And nice little push. There it is, beautiful. So we broke through to new highs. What I can do is I can take my stop loss and trail it just behind market structure. And let's see what happens next. If we can follow through further, look at that, very nice little break, retest entry or retest opportunity there. And so we'll trail that stop further, and let's see what happens with the trade. So I'm using a combination of a simple moving average to sort of guide trend, RSI to gauge whether or not price is looking a little stretched one way or the other, and I'm trailing stops. So what we can see here is that we've found support in this area, and let's see if we can break to new highs. And there they are, beautiful. With that break of new highs, I'll go ahead and trail the stop a little bit further. I like putting it right below this kind of strong breakout candle. So if we do come back and completely fill that, then I would just take the profit. And there we go. We got a nice push once again, and you can kind of see this is starting to look like clockwork. And these types of trades are rare, but they make up a majority of the types of gains that I can make in my account, is when I have these sort of big, ginormous one-directional moves. We now have a nice little retest happening here. Let's see if we can put in some sort of higher low. And there it is. We'll go ahead and trail stops again. And you can see with this one trade, we are floating around a 7% locked in gain through the trailing stop. And the overall return on the floating return, I should say, is around $900 on this trade. So let's see if we can get a break through the highs. And there it is. Now what we can do is continue to manage our stop loss, trailing it further into profit. And let's see what happens next. We've continued to push higher, and this trade is turning out to be quite the move. Let's see if we can catch a little bit more here to the upside, and nope, we are taking profits. The move has completely failed to hold that supportive level, and now we're looking to see if we can catch another entry point, and you can actually see we are still kind of meeting our criteria for more bullish setups. So I'm going to go ahead and enter another position. This time, trade management again is critical here. I'm looking to cut the trade if we break through support. I'm going to risk 1% as always. So putting in our 1% risk, trailing stops if we get into a nice trade. So let's see. And we are trying to hold support here. Again, if this breaks, we are out of the trade for a loss, and we took a loss. Now you can see price has kind of failed to hold support, and so we're going to pause and wait for more clarity in terms of market direction. We've now got a little bit more of a bearish price action here, looking for an overbought reading, and there it is. We're going to go ahead and take a small short position here, and let's go ahead and do our 1% risk, stop loss, put it above structure, place the trade, and we are now in a short position. So let's see what happens here. Gold is moving lower. What we can do is immediately, now that we've got a nice little break here, I'm going to move my stop loss just above this market structure high here. So let's go ahead and continue to see what happens. Retesting what was support, now potentially resistance. Let's see if that rolls over. And nope, we took a small win on the trade, but we are back to looking at this for new entries. And we are starting to get an overbought reading. Let's take another short position, new short, 1% risk on the trade. We're going to put a stop loss again above this structural point of resistance. If price breaks through there, we're out, and we're going to continue to let this see what it wants to do. So in this case, we took a full loss, and now the trend has started to reverse into an upward trend. So we're going to look for oversold conditions now for possible retest entries. And there we go. We've got a nice little retest taking place. We'll go ahead and take a long position here, risking 1% on the trade, place the order, and we are long. So with that said, let's see if we can continue in the upward direction in line with the trend, and beautiful, break through those highs. We'll trail that stop just below this market structure high, see if we either take a bigger winner if it wants to run, or if we trail out. And again, beautiful little retest and then pushing through. So we'll go ahead and trail stops again, and a really nice push there again through those highs, looking for an opportunity to trail stops here, and we are out. So we just took profits on that move there, and we can continue to repeat this process. I'm going to risk 1%, taking another long position here, and we've got our stop below structure. Let's keep going, and beautiful. Look at that break to new highs here. Really nice push. And now we've broken through this prior high. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and trail stops. We're going to see if we want to keep going here, and we do. So I'm going to just keep trailing stops below structure, see what happens next. Price broke to new highs. Let's see if we can hold this. We're trying to. I'd like to see at least recapture highs. Otherwise, might call it a trade. So let's see. Consolidating here, and we're out. So we're still in an upward trend. We just tagged a supportive level. Let's see if we can get any sort of rollover here. Nothing quite ready just yet. Now kind of consolidating. Trend is still in the upward direction. We are going to be looking for any sort of oversold condition. There we go. We'll take that long position here. And what I'm going to do is click new order, buy trade. I'm going to risk 1% on this position. And I'm going to put my stop loss below market structure here. This is a little bit wider. So what you can actually see is it won't let me do this. My size is too big, and the minimum I can do is a 2% loss. So what I can do is rethink the stop loss on this one, and I'll trade, let's do 1% still. You can see it won't let me do that because the stop loss is too big, but what I can do is I can do my stop there. So we'll go ahead and do that and click go. And you can see we're still holding together here, still consolidating and trying to make a break for highs. Nope, didn't quite get it. Come back down, retest it again, still consolidating, holding on to the upward trend, but barely. I'm doing nothing with my stop loss because we haven't put any new highs in. And there we go. We got a breakout here finally. So what I can do is I can trail stops below market structure here, and I'm going to see if we can get further upside. There we go. Very nice. I'm going to trail my stop loss here again, just behind market structure, and see what can come out of this. So now that I have some trade history behind me, I can take a look at what I've been up to. You can see my lot sizes here, when I took the trade, the open price, the close time, the P&L on the trade, the points gained, the stop loss. You can see I haven't been using a take profit, etc., etc. I've taken 12 positions, and I've had several winners with a few losses as well. What you'll notice within this strategy is that it tends to produce small losses, small wins, and the occasional very large win. When I click on this analytics tab, Forex Tester Online has a really cool analytics insight, and a lot of this is AI powered, and it is pretty game changer for somebody who wants to analyze their trading statistics. It will give you information like your trading style that it's picking up on, the behavioral traits that you're showing, like effective stress management, effective risk management, adaptable, or things that maybe you could work on. It'll show you your median trade duration, and we can see points to improve, like for example, things that it found that I could do better. Like for example, it says to try capping position size when potential risk is greater or equal to 0.25%. The backtest suggests improving results by $488.99 if you discard trades where potential risk is greater or equal to 0.25% of the balance. Consider cautiously increasing position size after a winning streak. I thought this was a really interesting insight. It's actually saying that there may be some upside in my trading statistics if I were to add more to winners. Quick note on this, the more trades I add to my backtest, the smarter this analytics gets, because obviously it's going to work with a bigger sample size. But for the sake of this video, I'm keeping it kind of concise. Of course, when you're using Forex Tester Online, if you choose to use their platform, which I think you should, they will give you endless opportunities here essentially to explore their platform and to build a much better trading plan based on the data that you give it. It essentially learns from what you're doing and helps you learn how you could improve it. Try taking breaks after losing trades to improve profits. I thought that was another interesting point. So based on some of those improvements or recommendations from improvements, I've gone back and I'm going to do a little bit of this testing again with some of the considerations that the Forex Tester Online platform showed me. Okay, I'm taking another long on this pullback trade, looking for a pushback to all-time highs. We're going to trim stops. Okay, we got a nice break through the highs, and I'm going to try doing what it said, which is to add a little bit to the trade here. So I'm actually going to add another 1% risk to this trade. Stop loss here, just so we can see the two trades. And in this case, that didn't quite work, but let's keep going. Putting my stop loss below, retesting support. I'm going to trim my stop again. Now we're breaking higher. Nice little move there. And I'm going to try adding again to my trade, putting my stop below where it currently sits. So we're adding another 1%. So I've added a second trade here to my position. So now we've retested again, looking for the breakout, and there it is. Now we have two winning positions. So I've added to my winner. I'm going to trail my stop loss on both trades. Let this run a little bit further. Again, we're going to trail stops just below with both positions running. All right, now we've broken higher again, trailing both stops just below this candle. And now we got a really nice runner, but this time we have two winners. So far, kind of working out to add that second winner to the trade. All right, we've got higher low. Okay, we are looking to cut the trade if we fail at this level. So let's just go ahead and put our stops right here. And there we go, we're out of the trade. Wow, I mean, that did ultimately add a second really solid position to an existing winning trade. So we're still in an overall upward trend here, oversold. So I'm just gonna re-enter my position here, 1% risk, place a buy. I'm going to trail my stop loss here a little tighter than this. Very nice reaction off of that area again, and trail my stop just below this here. All right, nice little breakthrough resistance, trailing stops. And I guess we'll look for a chance to add to the trade here if we get some sort of back test into support. Not quite getting a chance here. I guess I could have maybe added there. Definitely an opportunity to trail stops here. And let's go ahead and add to the trade here, following suit with our new stop loss here. 1% risk, boom. Looking for a continued push, and there it is, nice. All right, we can keep trailing stops here, trailing stops, and then we're out. So after making some changes, I actually added the adding to winners concept. And although it didn't really change my win rate too much, actually, let me just double check. Yeah, my win rate is about the same, and I only took 10 trades, but you can actually see I almost made just as much from the 10 trades because I actually ended up adding two winners sort of in line with what Forex Tester was suggesting in the analytics report, which I thought was really interesting. It also points out strengths, like for example, no losses or insufficient data to evaluate daily loss limits. Basically, it's not flagging any issues there. Of course, I want to keep trading to give more information to the platform so it can better analyze my results. It's also noticing that no position averaging was detected in this trading, and I don't trade in reaction to news. Also says that it likes my risk to reward ratio, my position sizing is consistent, appropriate stop loss management, all trades have stops, and time frame choice appears appropriate for trading costs. If we can scroll down, we can see the number of winning trades versus losing trades. And again, as you add more trades to your back testing, this will give you an even more conclusive overview of your trading statistics. You can see how many longs versus shorts. I had 3 shorts and 9 longs. My overall profit and loss between shorts and longs, I made more money on the long side. And of course, I only traded on XAU USD here. But then we get into some really interesting risk and performance metrics. We see the net profit, gross loss, profit to month, average profit, average loss, the max drawdown, which you can see was really not so bad on a nominal basis, profit factor, and the return percentage. Remember that this was over a 2-year stretch and I was only trading one instrument, so 15.37% is not too bad. Gives us overviews of the trades, like for example, the total number of trades, profitable trades, losing trades, max consecutive losing trades or profitable trades, the trades per day, trades per month, profitable trades per month and losing trades per month, max profit on a trade, and max loss on a trade. And just a reminder, with this style, I may not win every single trade by any means, but the max number, the max profit on a trade can be much larger than the max loss, given that I am structuring my trades so that I'm cutting winners or I'm cutting losers quickly and letting winners run. I think this is pretty cool too. They also have a calendar that you can look at as well. So obviously this is really great, especially if you're day trading, because then we can go to like individual months and you would have like much more day-to-day calendar views here. But because I've taken these trades as more like swing trades, which is more my style of trading anyways, you can see I'm infrequently trading. But personally, this is another thing, is within your backtest within Forex Tester, you could also backtest like 5 to 10 different things at once and build a more conclusive study. It would take you some time, but that's the whole point, is you take some time, backtest, improve your strategy before going live in the markets. To me, Forex Tester is the best platform that I've found for a trader who is looking to better improve their trading statistics through backtesting their methods. Most traders just throw money at the markets. They don't have any sort of strategic approach that they've actually spent time backtesting and refining. This tool is essentially the anvil to a trader's, sharpening their sword, essentially. If you're going to trade the financial market seriously, I think you need a product like Forex Tester to really take the time to build and iron out the details of your trading approach and to really test what you're doing before you put it in the live markets. Remember that if you're interested in checking out Forex Tester online, I'll leave a link and promo code in the description down below for you to explore and to take advantage of their discounts. In this video, I briefly went over a really simple technical approach that I use in my own trading to analyze the market direction following a momentum strategy. Through about 30 minutes or 20 minutes here of back testing, you can kind of see that I'm already piecing together stuff that would help to potentially improve my results further. So don't miss your chance. Pick up a copy of the Forex Tester online platform for super low cost, thanks to the details found in the description down below. Thanks for watching.